Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I kind of wanted to make a different kind of video, different from my well-edited playthroughs since of the day since the day that this video goes live, it will have been exactly 1 year since I started the channel. 1 year since I started playing video games for the first time ever. Yes, the first time ever. I'm 30 years old. Never touched them before, never been interested in them. They had the opportunity to grow up with them. So, sort of been a mix of a lot of stuff that came together for this to happen. And we'll talk about it a little bit, but that's just boring childhood stuff. So, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go over the games that I played this year. I'm not gonna go too in depth about them. I'm just gonna show you some gameplay of it. I'm gonna talk about the things that I learned from them, things that might be stupid to some of you guys, but to me it was like, whoa, you could do that. That's pretty freaking cool. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? Before we get to the games though, I'm sure a lot of people might be wondering, how is it possible that you never played video games? How is it possible that you're not aware of them? It's only one of the most powerful industries in the world. I know, I'm aware, like I know video games existed, I just never really care about them. Because here's the deal, I'm gonna make it very short. I grew up in a third world country. We didn't had, like computers, we didn't had game consoles. If you had a computer or a game console in the country that I grew up in, you were one of three things. One, you had family that live abroad and they could afford to send you these things. Two, you had family that worked for the government, so you had your way of getting things. And three, you stole it, most likely from tourists. Fortunately, none of those ever applied to us. So fast forward, I turned 11 years old. We were very lucky to win the visa lottery. We came to the US. New country, new language, new culture, new responsibilities. My parents, the only thing they ever told me was all I had to worry about was school, and that they would take care of everything else. And I took that to heart. That's all I care about. I made friends. I'm sure they had game consoles, but I never went to the home, so I wouldn't know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Time passed. I grew up, never bothered with video games. My brother did become a gamer, which obviously the first day that the game console got here, I got curious myself, but then very quickly that went away because he ended up enjoying shooters and horror games, and that was not my thing. So never really gave it much thought afterwards. And that was pretty much it. Then COVID came. Turns out that the work that we do could actually be done from home, and now I find myself that I had a lot of free extra time that I filled in reading books and whatnot. So I did, and then something very weird happened. I went into my brother's room one day and he was crying. My brother is a very serious dude. Like, you would never see him cry. I'm not saying he was bawling his eyes out, but he had tears in his eyes. And I was like, the hell's going on? What happened? And he's playing a game. He's playing a video game. I'm gonna have to look up what game it was because I completely forgot the name of it. But he's playing this game. In the game, there's like this creature that looks like a weird hippogriff with the face of like a very adorable weird dog. And there was this kid on it. And he was at the ending. There were like people stabbing the creature, and my brother just had tears on his eyes. And that just really stuck with me. The fact that my brother, being such a serious dude, was crying because of a video game. He's never even cried because of a movie. That was weird to me. And it really nagged me. It's like, am I missing something here? Am I misunderstanding? I thought video games were all about, blood, shooting, and death, and horror, and whatever the hell the TV likes to portray it as. So I went to my brother and I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm a little bit curious. If I wanted to try a video game, just try a video game. What would you say I should play first?" Holy shoot! If I knew that asking that question was gonna make my brother brighten up the way that he did, I would have asked it a long time ago. So, according to my brother, one of the best games to like kind of ease you into gaming would have actually been a Mario game. But for him, knowing me as well he does, he thought that for me, I would actually enjoy Portal a lot more because it's very calm, it's very chill. There's no enemies, kind of. There's no enemies, and it's puzzles, which I do love. I do love a good puzzle. So that's what he did. He installed Portal 1 and I got to playing. He also made an offhand comment about, oh, maybe you should make a YouTube channel, and now we're here. So it's stuck. So that's how that happened. Portal 1 was my first time with the game. I did not know how to move. I didn't know how to jump. I didn't know how to move the camera, move the character. I didn't realize these were two different things. So like my left hand would have to move the character. My right hand had to move the camera. This might be like things that you guys don't think about, but holy crap, my brain was working overtime. This is like some mental gymnastics I had to do. That's some pretty interesting things. At first when the game launched, I legit thought that the way that the character would move would be with the arrow keys on the keyboard, because it makes sense. Arrow up, you move up. Arrow down, you move down, etc. Turns out that's not the case. It was supposed to move with the WASD keys. So that was a weird experience, but as I got into playing the game, it made a bit more sense. It kind of felt more comfortable. So I can see why it's on the left side. Though I'm sure that there's more reasons, maybe because your hand will be closer to the rest of the keys, whereas if you have your hand on the arrow keys, it's a little bit tricky to get to other places. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But yeah, Portal. Motion sickness all over the place. So that was interesting. Movement was a bit, the first test chamber, the first two test chamber will have been my practicing with movement, with getting used to how the game works. Thankfully, Portal 1 gets you started very simple. Jumping was the tricky part. Like I could not judge the distance for jumping. Like, it's such a dumb thing now that I think about it, but it's like, let's say you have a platform and you're standing on this one, you have to jump to this one. I could not judge how much I had to jump. Like, does that make sense? Like, I didn't realize. Like, I didn't realize if I left the W button key pressed the whole way as I jump, it would actually jump further. So in my case, I was like jumping and moving. I was like moving forward, jumping. That wouldn't work. So I would try jumping and then moving forward. So I would just go. That's it. So jumping was tricky. Sometimes I would over jump. So I would like go over where I was supposed to go. Yeah, jumping, movement. That was my first experience with Portal 1. Things I had to get used to it. By the middle of the game, I was pretty good at it. Jumping was still a bit tricky. As far as the game is concerned, the game is awesome. The game was great. GLaDOS, so it's still my favorite character to this day. After I played all the games that I played, GLaDOS is still my favorite character. The voice, the jokes, all of it was amazing. All of it was hilarious. The storytelling of the game was pretty good. It's sort of like environmental storytelling. Because GLaDOS, I don't really believe many of the things that she would say. I kind of consider her to be a bit of a liar. She said a lot of things about the character, my player character, that was like, is that true? Is that not true? She did say a lot of lies, and I did fall for a lot of those. So I'm not too sure about it, if many of the things she said was, in fact, can be believable. So, that was my experience with Portal 1. Basically just trying to master movement, master jumping. I got a little bit better by the end of the game, especially as I had to fight GLaDOS, and that was like... And it was timed, which spoiler alert, I do not enjoy a timed fight. I still don't. It's tricky, it stresses me out, I still get buttons confused sometimes. So yeah, a timed fight, not my cup of tea, I don't like it, not enjoyable. Portal 2. I enjoy Portal 1 so much, I had to play Portal 2, obviously. However, because Portal 2, according to my brother, was still kind of Portal 1, but just massively more expanded. Just more puzzles, more chambers, new ways to complete puzzles. I decided, let me try something. Since it's kind of the same game, I'm gonna play with the controller. Just so I can also get some practice with the controller. Controllers are tricky. This thing is tricky. This was not the controller that I used. The controller that I used was like a $10 controller that I found at a thrift store. But the controller was very, very tricky to use. The buttons, I had to memorize them because, well, I didn't really have to memorize them. I had to memorize them in a different game we're going to talk about later. But the movement, again, left hand would be movement, right hand would be the camera. This was a lot more difficult. It was, oh my god, the controller was very difficult to get used to. But thankfully, Portal doesn't really have a lot of buttons to press. It's just move forward, movement, move the camera, crouch, jump, shoot the portals, and that's pretty much it. There really isn't much. And again, it's Portal 2. There's not enemies, unless you consider the turrets enemies. There's not much of a rush that you have to do. Except near the end when Whitley chases you, but by that point I was pretty good with the controller. Pretty good. I still get the controllers mixed up. Like if you tell me, oh, press the W key. Oh wow, W key. The Y key. Apologies. See what I mean? Press the Y key, I still have to be like, the Y key. It's this one. Okay. So like I haven't quite memorized the controllers. Yeah. Again, Portal 2. I think Portal 2 is way better than Portal 1. I mean, makes sense. It's a sequel. So whatever they mastered in Portal 1, they just perfected it in Portal 2. The story was pretty great. It was much heavily expanded on Portal 2. You had Whitley, who's a freaking moron. GLaDOS was present even better when she joined you and you played the entire game. Well, the remaining of the game with her on the gun, on the portal gun. It was great. You get to know a little bit. There was a lot more story on Portal 2. You got to know a little bit more about the backstory of Aperture, a little bit of how GLaDOS came to be. So that was interesting. That came out of freaking nowhere. That was like, that's how GLaDOS came to be. That's freaking bonkers. Holy shit. That is pretty, really good. Also, I kind of got like a feeling that I should read the wiki. Am I wrong about this? Let me know. It's the player character, the daughter of GLaDOS? Or at least not GLaDOS, but Coraline? Was it kind of... Because the end song... Okay, I know the ending song was in Italian. Italian and Spanish kind of share some words, and I recognized like Bambina. So I was like, isn't that child? I was like, I could be wrong. I'm not Italian, so... It was like, there was some weird stuff that I saw on Portal 2. I was like, 100% Chell, the player character, was the daughter of an employee at Aperture. So I'm like, is she the daughter of Coraline? She's the daughter of the CEO? Like, I should really look that up now that I'm thinking about it. Wow. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, if that's true, that's some fucking awesome stuff. Anyway, so that was pretty much my experience with Portal 1 and 2. Portal 1, get used to a mouse and keyboard. Portal 2, get used to a controller. Gameplay was awesome. Highly recommend. If you've never played Portal, highly, highly recommend. Just because I enjoyed Portal so much, Portal 2 had this, what was it called? Like I forgot the name of it. But like you will be able to play levels designed by players. Those were fun. And I also, because Portal 2 was so enjoyable, it was my introduction to mods. Holy crap. The player-made stuff are really, really good. Portal Story Smell was freaking amazing. Portal Reloaded was awesome. I think I may have played pretty much all of them. I got obsessed with Portal. It was awesome. So as mentioned previously, a lot of the free time that I ended up getting because of working from home, I filled it in by reading. I love stories. So after playing Portal 1 and Portal 2, I was like, I kind of enjoyed the story of Portal 2, but it was like, I guess in a way you could say minimal. It's there, but it's not like a huge story lore unless I miss a lot of stuff. So I went to my brother and I was like, okay, look, I want to play a game with a story, with a really good story. Is there a game that has some good shit for me to like get immersed in? And he's like, I gotcha. So he downloaded Dragon Age Origins. He said, oh, I want to download Dragon Age Origins for you, but I know the one that you're gonna enjoy the most is, let's call it his sister, Mass Effect. However, we're gonna start with Dragon Age because you prefer fantasy over sci-fi, and that is true. Dragons, big armor, badass swords. Oh hell yeah, give me that every day. One of my favorite animes of all time is Berserk. I fucking love that shit. Like, give me big weapons and I'm all for it. Give me blood, give me death. It's great. Anyway, he downloaded Dragon Age Origins, got to play in it. Completely different experience from Portal, obviously. This one is more... How can I explain it? Portal was more chill, right? There's barely any enemies. The turrets don't chase you. It's like, they're just standing there. You can avoid them. Dragon Age, you have enemies. It's like, they come at you. You have to know what the fuck you're doing, kind of. I died, like, a lot. I died a lot on Dragon Age. The freaking wolves, man. Dogs, wolves, oh my gosh. When they would, like, jump at you and just grab you and start chewing you up, that was so annoying. But Dragon Age was awesome. Dragon Age, again, first experience, mouse and keyboard. But Dragon Age had a lot more button presses. There was, like, I think if you press the I button, you open the inventory. If you do, like... Oh shit, what was the button? I forgot. I think if you press the C button, you open, like, the character menu. There's, like, a bunch of different buttons that you could press that will open different things about the game. Menus upon menus. My favorite menu would have been the Codex. Oh my gosh, the Codex was insane. The Codex was, like, me sitting there. I was like, how is this a game? How is this a thing? That, yes, you're playing through the game. There's the whole Darkspawn situation. You're playing through it. You're seeing what's happening in the present. But then you have the Codex that would just tell you stuff that happened, like, years ago. Years, like, hundreds of years ago. And it's like, you're giving me all of this backstory that I'm never gonna see. But it's world building. I spent a bunch of time. I read every entry of the Codex. I got immersed in Dragon Age. That baby was awesome. The gameplay-wise, it was awesome. It was great. I played a ranger. I played a ranger. A human? I played a human ranger. My build, I guess that's what you guys call it, ended up being a bow wielder that could summon animals. I lost Morrigan while playing the game. I don't quite recall what it was that I did that pissed her off. Oh yeah, I didn't kill her mom. What the hell would I kill her mom? Like, it's voiced by one of my favorite actresses, one of my favorite Star Trek captains. How could I possibly kill her mother? Plus, thank God I didn't, because I don't know if it will have any effect on Dragon Age 2, because holy shit, she turned into a hot mama on Dragon Age 2, but, like, we'll talk about that later. So she got pissed and she left. So Morrigan, I cannot really talk about Morrigan much. She's just, I never got to know her. She was just pissy. But I liked her. It kind of sucks because I kind of had an idea of having Alistair be my main guy in the front. I was Bo, so I was in the back. I was going to have Morrigan be my mage that would do damage, and I will have Wynn be the mage that would do healing. So that was my idea. And then she left. And then I put Liliana on the party. Thank God I did, because she was awesome. Because originally I was gonna have me be the one doing the lockpicking. Because another thing I learned about myself, I'm a massive hoarder. Like, in the game. Like, I don't keep stuff in real life. But oh my gosh, I have to loot everything. Like, everything that I see that can be looted, I have to loot it. Like, I need it. Even if I don't need it, I need it. I could sell it for money. I could just use it for something. That guy's, like, it's not just Dragon Age. Like, I was looting in any game where you could loot something, I had to have it. To the point that I would die many times trying to get the thing. I'm a loot goblin, I think that's the name of it. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Dragon Age was fun. Again, the Codex, best thing about it, I spent a bunch of time just reading it and just being like, how is this a game? How? What? How? Why is all of this backstory? You can learn about the gods, about the beliefs, the cultures, the different places around the place. Places that you don't even visit, but you learn about them. It's pretty cool. In case you're curious, Mage or Templar, By the point, I was very like on the side of the mages, to be honest, because I feel like the Templars, I mean, I could be wrong, I mean, I missed something, but oh my gosh, dude, if I were a mage and I were treated the way that the Templars treat the mages, shoot, I would want to be an apostate. I would like GTFO out of there and just try and hide the rest of my life. I'd rather be on the run than having to be under the thumb of a Templar. Because oh my gosh, they just made it so much worse. I understand the reason why the Templars do what they do, but like, dude, the way that they go about it, they just make it so much worse. But yeah, my experience with Dragon Age Origins, that was that. And then, oh boy, then one of my followers, they were watching the Portal playthrough, and they made a comment, and they were like, hey, did you know one of my favorite games actually takes place in the same world as Portal? And I was like, excuse me? What? Another game that takes place in Portal? I freaking love Portal. What do you mean? What is this game? And they said this game was Half-Life. Listen, if by this point Dragon Age had not grasped me on my legs, just pulled me into video game abyss, Half-Life was like pushing me in there. Half-Life like 300 kicked me into the abyss. Half-Life was amazing. I played Half-Life 1, I played Half-Life 2, I played episode 1 and 2. I played the side games. I played Blue Shift and I played Opposing Force. I know there's one more game which is like the cooperation game, which is on Steam, but apparently it's not the full game. I have yet to play Black Mesa. That's one of my goals for this year, which is like a fan-made remake of Half-Life 1. So I kind of do want to do that one. But, you know, I'm just delaying it since I already kind of did Half-Life 1. And yeah, I did not do Alex. My brother owns Alex. He owns a VR headset. I tried. Like, believe me, I tried playing Half-Life Alex. I could not play Half-Life. Like, motion sickness was just like, it was killing me, man. I could not do Half-Life. So instead, I asked him to play Half-Life for me, and I saw him play through the game. Freaking awesome. Half-Life was great. Again, the way that Half-Life tells the story was a lot different from Dragon Age. Whereas Dragon Age, you will have exposition, you will have characters talking to you, you will have explanations for things that were happening. Half-Life didn't really... Half-Life didn't really explain much. Yes, it did. There were like scientists that would talk about things that were happening, but then once everything went to shit, nobody was talking to you. Everybody was dead, everybody was running, and the people that were alive were trying to kill you. So Half-Life had this way of storytelling, at least Half-Life 1, had this way of storytelling where it would be environmental storytelling. Like, if you look at the things that were happening, you would kind of have an idea of everything that is going on. Like, I started playing Half-Life 1, like, for example, so in Half-Life 1, there's this enemy called the Vortigon. And their enemies, they show up, they attack you. Most of the time they attack you, they show up from behind. So to me, it felt like they were ambushing you. You will play through the game, there's these asshole enemies. And then by the end of the game, when you end up traveling to... I forgot the name of it. To like this other world, I kind of got the vibe that they were like slaves. Because it felt like they were like being worked on. I don't know if I explained myself. Like, to me, it felt like they were slaves. And I was right. When I played Half-Life 2, turns out now the Vortigons are now friends and allies. And I was kind of right, they were slaves. Anyway, just that's one little thing, like, it's like environmental storytelling. It was like a bunch of like interactive. The game was old, but it was like freaking awesome. It was great. I don't really care about graphics and any of that stuff. Like I said, I'm more interested in storytelling. I can ignore the graphics. I can ignore bad gameplay. So long as I get a good story, then I'm good. Unless the bad gameplay kind of doesn't make it a good experience. But I have yet to play something that I consider a bad game. But yeah, Half-Life was... Oh my gosh. Half-Life consumed me. I could not stop playing Half-Life. Half-Life was amazing. But at this point, this was also my first experience with a shooter. Now that I think about it. I mean, yeah. Would you consider Portal a shooter? You shoot portals, but not really. Nah. Half-Life would have been my first experience with a shooter. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say about it. I mean, again, the storytelling was awesome. The only thing that I could not take serious about the game is the fact that you play as this scientist, and I'm just like, how is it possible that this guy who's like a scientist, how is he able to kill trained military people, a bunch of alien invading force, and he just like does it with no problem? How is he able to handle all of these different types of gun? Like, what kind of scientist are you, dude? Like, I need to know, was this guy like some sort of military trained background or something? Because there's no way, in 100 years, there's no way that a scientist with no military background, which I don't think he had a military background, will be able to do all of that stuff. So, suspension of disbelief. But that was the one thing. Like, I could accept an alien invasion. I could not believe that a scientist would be able to do everything that he did. But yeah, one thing that I do kind of want to note, obviously Half-Life 2 was freaking amazing. It was awesome. I was so freaking annoyed. Oh my gosh, let me tell you something. Once I finished episode 2, was it 2? Yes. By the end of episode 2, I can understand what people really want Half-Life 3. In my case, holy shit. Episode 2 ended with them literally name-dropping Aperture, the setting from Portal 1. I was like, what are you talking about? Are you saying that this thing that you guys are looking for, somehow Aperture is involved? Are you kidding me? Are you saying we're gonna go to Aperture? Are you saying it's possible we're gonna see GLaDOS? Whoa, what is happening? And then the game ended. So that sucked. Although good news, I'm hearing rumors on the internet that apparently there's some sort of Half-Life 3 going on, that they may actually be working on a Half-Life 3 game. I hope that's true. We'll see what happens. But I'm very excited. Thank God I didn't have to wait as long as you guys. But yeah, that was my experience with Half-Life. Great game. Amazing environmental storytelling. Half-Life 2 was peak. Although I will say, I enjoy Opposing Force so much more. Opposing Force was awesome. I don't know why, but Opposing Force was really fun. I love Half-Life 1, but Opposing Force was just like another level. To me, it felt like so much more fun than Half-Life 1, which I hope is not like a horrible thing to say. I really did enjoy Opposing Force. So after being done with my obsession with Half-Life, which included a lot of player-made mods and whatnot, I went back to Dragon Age. This time Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2, I'm gonna say, like, I loved the gameplay of Dragon Age 2. It was fun. The story was also pretty good, especially the freaking ending. The ending was amazing. The characters were awesome. I will say, though, my only problem with Dragon Age 2 was the conversation wheel. And it was alright. The fact that there were a lot of repeated settings, I'm not sure, maybe I could be wrong, but it felt like I would go to a lot of the same places a lot of the time. Like, I would do a mission where I had to like clear a group of like bandits or thieves, and then further down the line I had to go back to the exact same cave where I cleared the bandits, and now this place is filled with like giant spiders or some stuff like that. I don't know. It was weird. Like, I went to a lot of the same places multiple times. But I didn't mind that as much as the freaking conversation wheel. The conversation wheel, so Dragon Age Origins, in case you've never played it, had like a massive wall of text. Well, not a huge wall of text, but you had like options that you could choose from. Your character did not talk, but you would choose what your character was technically saying. So you had like a long line of text that you would choose, so you knew exactly what it was that you were saying. Dragon Age 2 had a wheel that had a few lines, and then you would choose whatever you think, you want to choose. But the problem is that with this freaking wheel, when I would pick something that I thought is what it was about to say, it ended up being something completely different. Something that I did not meant to say. kind of trying to think of like an example, but like I remember this was one of those things that really nagged me. It's like, that is not at all what I meant to say. Holy shit. But that bothered me a lot. I did not like that tiny little wheel. I preferred the long text box, so I knew exactly what I was saying. But other than that, Dragon Age 2 was awesome. Varric became my favorite companion of that game. Anders was also pretty awesome, especially near the ending. Which kind of is unfortunate because the guy died. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a way for him to... I think there was a way for him to live. But like, I decided just to end them because, oh my gosh, it just made things so much worse for the poor mages. Like, if things were bad before, he made it way worse. Yeah. I'm trying to... Oh my gosh, it's been a while. I'm trying to think. I do remember I enjoyed the gameplay a lot. Not the gameplay, but like the animations of the how the characters will move. I played in this case, I really wanted to do a ranger again, but I wanted to try something different. So this time I went mage, and I took on a bit of responsibility, and I was a healer mage. So I was the healer of the group because I was a mage. I didn't use all the mages as much. Anders was the only one that I would add to the party. Freaking, there were characters from Dragon Age Origins that made appearances in Dragon Age 2. I was like, oh. So the decisions that I made on Dragon Age Origins carry over to Dragon Age 2. That's freaking amazing. Which at the time I thought was like the greatest thing that I've ever seen. I thought it was like, oh, so what? The decisions that I made in the first game matters in the sequels. But that was before I played Mass Effect. Then I had like a bunch of problems with Dragon Age 2, even more after playing Mass Effect. But we're gonna get there. But yeah, the game was awesome. I did also lose another companion, which was... Oh, fuck, I forgot the name of it. Isabella? The pirate chick? She left me. I'm not quite sure what it was that I did wrong, but she did leave me. Which kind of sucks because I really liked her. She was my rogue of the party. Varric was... Well, nah. Varric was my main boy. So he was my main rogue. I liked Isabella a lot. She would do a bunch of damage, and then she just freaking left me. I ended up romancing Severin? I think that was his name. The elf boy. I romanced him. I forgot to mention, in Dragon Age Origins, I romanced Alistair. And he dumped me. Because he was being a whiny little bitch. Because it was like this whole situation in Dragon Age Origins where... Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of the characters. Where the bad guy that ended up killing the king. So we have to have this conversation where, oh, do we execute him? What do we do with this guy? And I was like, we're in the middle of like a darkspawn attack. We cannot get rid of this guy. This guy is like supposed to be a very good military leader. Apparently he is, because he ended up killing the king. Like, can we like not kill this guy for now and just use him, have him lead whatever army he can lead to fight the darkspawn? We need all the allies we can get. But then Alistair was like, you gotta kill him. The fuck you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, strategize, my man. Like, use him, get him to fight for you against the darkspawn, and then we can deal with him. We need all the help we can get against the darkspawn. But he got pissy and then he left. He dumped me in front of like a bunch of nobles and was like, I'm out. I'm like, bro. And then the dude joined my party. Like the bad guy. Logan. There you go. I remember his name. Logan. Like, Alistair left and then Logan joined my party, which also I did not see coming. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of neat. But then Alistair left. I was like, you freaking little whiner. During the entire game, I was saying how much of a whiner I was. I was like, hey, he's going through stuff, through a rough patch. I was like, dude, you're a freaking whiner. I'm sorry, but I was thinking strategically. I was thinking, have him fight, have Logan fight against the Darkspawn, and then we can deal with him. We can, like, punish him. We can just kill him and then lose an asset against the war. I was like, come on, dude. So, yeah. He left the party, he dumped me, and then during Age 2, he appeared and he was a drunkard. I was like, I kind of feel bad about it. I was like, dude, I don't regret it. So, yeah. So that was my experience with Dragon Age 1 and 2. I have not played Inquisition. It is one of my games that I need to play because I am aware that there's a new Dragon Age game coming out. I saw some gameplay of it. It looked pretty cool. My boy Varric is on it, although I have a bad feeling because I'm seeing a lot of death flags. I see the Grim Reaper right behind him. I have a feeling that he's gonna die. I'm very concerned because I really like Varric a lot. But yeah, so I do need to do Inquisition, so I can't really speak anything about it. I don't know anything about Inquisition, so that's the end of the Dragon Age story. Moving on. So after my experience with Dragon Age, I kind of wanted to try something a little bit different, something that, it's not a story heavy, something that will play different from everything that I played before. So I asked my brother again, I was like, hey, is there like a game that I could try, something that's a little bit different, something that, story heavy, something maybe short, that it doesn't take me because, oh my god, Dragon Age was so long. Something that doesn't take me too long to beat. I just kind of want to, take a chill pill before I play something that's in that length again. And he was like, oh, I kind of got a game for you. I think you're going to enjoy it. And he downloaded Tarzan. Which is I think it's I don't know what year it's from, but it's pretty old. It looks really good. It looks very cartoony and it looks very colorful. And it looks good. But it plays compared to every other game that I played, it plays different. Because every other game that I played before this, you would either be the character, so like Portal, Half-Life, you don't see the player character, or you will be behind the character, like in Dragon Age. Tarzan, you will play it sideways, so you will see Tarzan and he will move this way. I think it's called a 2D platformer. I could be wrong. I don't know. I know each game has its own genre. I think it was called a platformer. So Tarzan will move this way, and it's basically you playing through the game, and it's quite literally just going through the movie. You're going through the phases of Tarzan's life. You start playing with him as a child, and then you move on into adulthood, and you're literally going through the movie. I could already tell what the next level was gonna be, just because I do enjoy the Tarzan movie a lot. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, second to The Lion King. But yeah, which is on my to-do list. Although I have heard that The Lion King is actually very difficult. But Tarzan, great game. Unfortunately, something happened with my computer that apparently the game was supposed to have music, but my playthrough did not have any music for whatever reason. It is an old game. There were a couple of issues trying to run it. But yeah, that was the unfortunate thing, which I didn't know at the time. I didn't realize it was supposed to have music. But oh well. But yeah, Tarzan, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend you guys play it. It was a lot of fun. It was very simple. The levels were short. It was my first experience with a platformer. So again, it was like a bit of an adjustment on getting used to how you could move left to right. There were like collectibles and stuff in it. You had to collect the Tarzan letters. So I got obsessed. I refused to finish a level if I didn't have all of the freaking letters. There were also 4 pages of a painting of the annoying little monkey from the movie. So yeah, I refused to leave a level if I did not have all of the pieces. I had to have all of the pieces. Again, I'm very obsessed about having all of the things. I need to have all of the things. It bothers me if I don't have all of the things. It nags at me in the back of my mind. I was I need to have it. I could possibly complete this level and not have the thing that they obviously want me to get. So yeah, nothing much to do there. It was fun. It was a great game. Oh, near the ending of the game completely switched on me. So the entire game, again, you played sideways. But near the end of the game, there was this one level where the camera would flip and would become third person. So that just threw me off. But it was fun. It was a level where you had to deal with the humans and save the ape, the gorilla family. So the camera, you were playing as him and you were top down, so it was Tarzan down here, and then you were looking at him from above as he would go through the level. I died a lot of that level. It was completely camera switch on me. But yeah, it was great. Tarzan, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. If you have it, or if you don't have it, try and play it, because it was really fun. It's a very beautiful game. For seeing how old it is, it was very, very beautiful. It was very it was literally the movie. So after playing Tarzan, I wanted to play a different game, something a little bit different. But during this time, I stumbled on a YouTube video, because at this point my YouTube account, because everything about it is games, I started getting a lot of game recommendations on YouTube, and I saw this thumbnail that just made me go, what the fuck? Because here's the thing, even though I did not know much about video games, it's very difficult, because it is one of the most profitable industries out there. It's very difficult for you to live your entire life and not know at least something about video games. I'm sure if I ask a grandparent who Mario is, I'm sure they'll know. It's like, oh, it's that Nintendo character, especially after the movie. So in my case, I knew what Call of Duty was. Like, I was aware of Call of Duty. Like, I knew it was like this military shooter that apparently has some kind of deal with the actual US military. So whatever, but I didn't know much about it. I knew that you shoot, I knew that you do stuff, and I knew it was supposed to be like a military shooter. So color me surprised when I'm just minding my business on YouTube, and then there's a thumbnail where it says Call of Duty and then something Call of Duty Skeletor, and I'm like, what do you mean Skeletor? Like, are you like Masters of the Universe Skeletor? Like, what? And then I clicked on it, and it's like straight up Skeletor. I was like, what the fuck? What? Why? What? What is Skeletor doing in a game where you use guns to kill each other? Like what? The hell is Skeletor doing here? Like, it threw me off. Huge Massive of the Universe fan. But like, the fuck is Skeletor doing? And it wasn't just Skeletor. Apparently Homelander was on it too. It was like some chick which I later found out was Nicki Minaj. I was like, the fuck does this have to do with like what? I was so confused. I was like, what? Why is this a thing? This is so weird. I asked my bro, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh yeah, that's just cash grab. I was like, oh, okay. But it got me curious. I was like, I thought Call of Duty was supposed to be like this serious military shooter that actually goes through, like, supposedly tells you like military stories. I was like, okay, I'm curious. How the fudge did we came to this point where like freaking Skeletor is on Call of Duty? So I got curious. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do something. And this is still a thing that I have planned. I want to play every single Call of Duty, all of them, just to see at what point did we started featuring Skeletor as a character in the Call of Duty game. Which, mind you, I just think it's like the funniest shit ever. I think that's hilarious and super fun. Like, I don't know how like the multiplayer works in Call of Duty, but just the idea that you're playing as this military dude and then you turn the corner and like freaking Skeletor's just standing on it. I was like, I just think it's hilarious. But Skeletor with the gun, that's a thing that I never picture in my mind. But yeah, so I did. I started playing Call of Duty, and I played Call of Duty 1. The very first one. I played it on veteran difficulty, hard difficulty. It was like the difficulty above normal difficulty. Just because I thought to myself, I need to I don't want to take things the easy way. I'm trying to learn how to play video games, so if I do it the easy way, I'm never gonna become better. So, yeah. So that was a fucking idea, because I died a lot on that freaking game. But great game. It took place during the war. You play as the different factions through the alliance. Wow, the alliance. The ally races. Wow. I'm still thinking of Dragon Age. It took place during the Great War. The Second Great War. And then you will play as the different factions, so you will see like different stories from the different point of views. You actually will go through actual historical events in the game. It was a very serious game. Like, it will depict war. The gameplay was fun as hell. Music was awesome. My favorite level would have been the ship level, where Captain Price dies, and then the level with the dam, because you had to go inside the dam, and then you go down, and then you gotta go right back up to the dam. So that was actually fun, even though I crashed a couple of times on that level. overall, I was like, how the hell did this game that became so was so serious in 2003 reach the point where Skeletor was on it? I was like, I'm kind of curious. So I do have plans. I 100% be playing every single Call of Duty. That's like my plan. I enjoy Call of Duty 1 a lot. I'm sure as the time goes on and the technology improves, it's just gonna get better. It is supposed to be one of the most famous game franchises out there. So 100%, I will be playing every single one of them. So a game that I would play when I started streaming, which didn't last very long. I streamed for like a couple of months, and I was like, I kind of don't. I feel like I need to follow a schedule here, and I do not have a lot of time to play games. So when I started streaming, I really wanted to have a schedule. Like I would start streaming at 10, and then I would stop at 12, because I have to work. And I was like, this schedule was like very rigid, very like, I live in a house with like 6 people, so noise can sometimes be an issue. So after a couple of months, I was like, this is actually stressing me out. So because I want to have a good stream. I want to not have background noise. I don't want to have any problems. So it was a mix of a bunch of stuff. So the streaming didn't last very long. But anyway, whenever I would like finish a game, or I would finish like a level in a game, I was like, I don't have enough time to continue playing, because I'm about to end the stream in like 20 minutes or some stuff like that. I would play a game to fill in that time. And that game was Split Second, which was my first and only racing game so far. Holy shit, dude. When I tell you, if you never played Split Second, I mean, okay, this is coming from me. Again, never played any other racing game, just Split Second. But oh my gosh, Split Second is amazing. It is awesome. Basically, it's a racing game. You pick a car, you go through the level, you race against other cars, and there's like explosions happening all over the place. You can trigger explosions. There are cars that you're racing against and trigger explosion. That shit was awesome. The game is great. Highly recommend. Nothing much that I can say about it, except that it's a racing game. Although it is the one game that still gives me motion sickness, especially when I start cranking up that speed. Oh my gosh, when the car starts going like top speed, the motion sickness starts kicking my ass. But other than that, I can't really say much about it. Highly recommend that you guys play it. Very fun, super freaking fun game. But this is coming from someone that has no other racing experience, so that's pretty much all I can say about it. And then, the granddaddy of the games that I played, the big boy of the games that I played this year, happened. This game, oh my gosh, was Mass Effect. Holy shit. That's literally the best way that I can explain it. Holy shit. That game was freaking amazing. The game was so good. Oh my gosh. If you've never played Mass Effect, why? Oh my god. It is so freaking good. The gameplay's awesome. The story is so freaking good. And Mass Effect, oh my gosh, I started comparing a lot of stuff to Mass Effect, especially Dragon Age. Holy shit, when I played Mass Effect, and then I went to Mass Effect 2, and then I saw that you could import your character from Mass Effect 1, and that it would import the stories, the events, the stuff, pretty much everything that you did in Mass Effect 1 would carry on to Mass Effect 2, and that it actually came to play in Mass Effect 2, and then in Mass Effect 3, you could import the character from Mass Effect 2 that will have the stuff from Mass Effect 1, and then all of that will come into play in Mass Effect 3. It's like, holy shit! Why was Dragon Age 2 a completely different character? It's the exact same company also that made Mass Effect. So like, why isn't Dragon Age 2 just like a continuation of the Grey Warden story, where you can like import all the stuff that you did on Origins, and then you just continue on, just literally do Mass Effect, but we're like in a fantasy setting. I was like, oh my gosh, how did this not happen? I'm not dissing Dragon Age 2. I enjoyed Dragon Age 2. But after going through Mass Effect, I was like, how did they not do the same thing for Dragon Age? I mean, they have it there. Like, Alistair showed up on Dragon Age 2. Like, so it's there. Like, the events, some stuff that happened on Dragon Age Origins carry on to Dragon Age 2. I don't know if it carries on to Inquisition. No experience there. But, like, you could have literally kept playing with the Grey Warden. Just keep going with the story. They could have done it. And this is because I'm a huge fan of fantasy. I would have loved the Mass Effect treatment with Dragon Age. Oh my gosh, dude. Mass Effect was freaking amazing. It was awesome. So obviously I made a female shepherd. I chose an engineer. I chose an Earth. I was like an Earth. Like I was born on Earth. Which means I was an orphan. So my shepherd's background was like she joined like gangs and stuff like that, and then she became shepherd. And then I think the background was something about I forgot the name of the background, but like the background was that she was on a group, and then the group everybody dies, and Shepherd was the only one that survived. I forgot the name. It had like a name on it. I forgot about it. Oh my gosh, Mass Effect was awesome. Mass Effect 1 was great. It had the Mako. I freaking enjoyed the Mako. Color me surprised when I realized that a lot of people don't enjoy the Mako. I freaking love the Mako. Like, I went to every single freaking planet. I collected all of the things. Again, I got obsessed about that. I collected all of the things. I feel like I did everything on Mass Effect. Went to every planet, got to every did all of the quests. I didn't romance anybody on Mass Effect 1. There was really nobody that I kind of wanted to romance. Oh! No, I didn't. I didn't. I was going to, but I didn't really care. So basically, a Mass Effect, spoiler alert, Mass Effect 1, one of the biggest what the fuck moments was at the end where you were given the option, you should go help Caden. But Ashley is also in trouble. Oh gee, who are you gonna help first? So like my thought and reasoning was, well, I'm closer to Caden, so I think if I go to Caden and I help Caden, I'm gonna have enough time to go and help Ashley, because I'm like literally right by where Caden is. That was literally my reasoning. So I ended up saving Caden, and then I was like, what do you mean Ashley's dead? Like, dead? Like, actually dead? Like, what do you mean? Like, you mean she's not coming back? Like, you mean she's gone? And she was. It was like a decision that had like a massive impact on the game that actually still got brought up throughout the rest of the game. I was like, this is some bonkers stuff. This is amazing. This is like some really good storytelling. Just everything came together because the gameplay was awesome. The storytelling was great. It was awesome. The whole thing with the Reapers was great. The backstory of how the Reapers came to be. The entire trilogy was freaking amazing. Kinda sucks that in Mass Effect 3, a game where I had to make so many decisions and where I really thought about what I wanted to do, the last massive decision that you had to make in the entire trilogy, I fucked that up. Because here's the thing. I wanted to have the synthesis ending. And this is kind of a spoiler because the video hasn't gone up yet. I wanted to have the synthesis ending. Just because I didn't like the idea of the ending where basically all of the AI, all of the computers and stuff die. Because I was like, well, the freaking Turian... Wow. The Quarians. The Quarians and the Geth have become allies once more. I'm not gonna freaking kill all of the Geth. They're helping. They're allies now. And I was like, there was another one where you pretty much just destroy the Reapers, but then that has problems because it just destroys the mass relays. So out of all of the endings, I really liked the synthesis ending the most. It just felt right. Kind of sucked that I was forcing synthesis on everybody, but that's the ending that I wanted. And it was not the ending that I ended up choosing. Because the problem was, in the ending of Mass Effect 3, the way that you go about choosing the ending, you have to choose a path. So there's 3 paths. There's right, there's the middle, and then there's the left. I must have missed some kind of exposition. After rewatching the video, I ended up noticing where I messed up. But like, holy Jesus, dude. Like, how? Obviously, I would mess it up. But like, I didn't remember what the hell you showed me. Like, I went through the explanation, but I completely missed what you were showing me on the screen. So I ended up going all the way left, whereas I was supposed to go through the middle. I screwed up the ending that I wanted. I was so freaking annoyed. I was incredibly annoyed. After playing the entire trilogy, really thinking about the choices that I made, really sticking to them, even if it was a choice that I didn't like, I stuck to it. I didn't reload, I didn't do anything different. Like, the ending got fucked. Like, it got screwed for me. I was so... Ugh. I hated it. It was so annoying. Oh my gosh, when I realized that it did not seem like I chose right, I was annoyed. Like, I didn't enjoy it. Like, it just ruined it for me. It was a fine ending. It was fine. If that was the one that you wanted, but that was not the one that I wanted, so I was annoyed. But yeah, other than that, Mass Effect was a great game. Just be very careful about what you do at the ending, because they don't really tell you. Like, clearly the one on the right was bad. It was like the destruction ending, because it was red bad. But like, I could not tell left or middle which one was the one that I wanted, so it just completely threw me off. Man, now that I think about it, it still annoys me. Damn. But yeah, so that kind of ruined it a little bit. But yeah, nothing much that I can say about Mass Effect. Great game, highly recommend if you've never played it. It is still my favorite experience with a game that I've had so far. It was great. If you're big into stories, Mass Effect was awesome. Highly recommend. And then, one of the viewers on Twitch, they were like, oh, have you played, this little game? It's a great game. It's known for being a difficult game. Have you played it? I was like, oh no, I would love to try it. This game was called Dark Souls. Supposedly a game that was known for its difficulty. I loved it. It doesn't top Mass Effect. I don't think I'm ever gonna find something that can top Mass Effect in levels of storytelling. But Dark Souls is my number 2. Dark Souls was fun AF. I downloaded Dark Souls, and I was like, okay, the game is supposed to be very difficult, right? So let's make it even more difficult. Let's play with a controller. Because remember, the last time that I played with a controller was on Portal 2. And I hadn't touched a controller since then. And I did saw a lot of comments on Steam saying, oh, it's better on a controller. So I was like, okay, fine. We'll play on a controller. Then we went into the game. You had to create your character. So that was fun. I actually enjoyed creating a character because it felt like it's me in the game. Made a character. You could choose from a knight to a thief to like a mage. And then I was like, you know what? The game is supposed to be difficult, right? I'm playing with a controller which I haven't touched since Portal 2, so that's gonna be difficult as well. Let's make it even more difficult. Let's play with the Deprived, which, for those of you who have not played Dark Souls, means that you start with no armor. The only weapon that you get is a crappy shield, a club, and I do not regret that start at all, because the club is a freaking amazing weapon. The club was awesome. So because I enjoyed the club so much, as I was playing through the game, I enjoyed playing with the club because it would stun the enemies. Like, you will hit them, the enemy would just go like that. It was great. So because the club was a strength weapon, that ended up being what I went with. Apparently you could have your character be built different. You could have like a mage, you could have like different, like a pyromancer, and then you would put like abilities into like dexterity, strength, intellect, faith, I believe. So I ended up going with strength. So I put a bunch of points into strength. I put a bunch of points into health because I needed the health because I was getting my ass kicked. It was awesome. Whomever said that Dark Souls was difficult and decided, oh, I'm not going to play Dark Souls because it's supposed to be a difficult game, I'm just going to get frustrated. People, if I can beat it, you can beat it. Like, just be patient, take it slow, you'll be fine. Like, if I beat the game, like I supposedly, okay, here's what happened. So there's like, these enemies are called the Black Knights, and there's also this enemy called Havel, Havel the Rock. I killed the first Black Knight that I found. The first Black Knight that I found, I killed them without even dying. And they're supposed to be difficult. I killed Havel the Rock. I didn't even die. Like, I killed him on my first try. The dude was slow, had a massive fucking epic weapon, but he was slow. And it was easy to tell what he was gonna do just because he was that slow. Like, I guess, I don't know. I guess after playing games that move so fast, like Mass Effect, everything else, Dark Souls just felt a little bit slow to me. So I was able to tell what was about to happen. So I didn't really had much trouble, I guess, at the beginning. Like, if I supposedly how was supposed to be very difficult, supposed to be the Black Knight is supposed to be very difficult. If I managed to kill these two people on my first try, you guys can do it too. Like, don't be frustrated. Just take it slow. Don't rush. Take it slow. That's how I managed to beat the game. I just took my time. I was very slow. I will say though, I'm not gonna sit here and say Dark Souls is easy as F. I'm a pro. Like, if you put enemies and I get overwhelmed, there's like a bunch of enemies I have to deal with, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Like, one of my biggest problems, like my biggest like issues that I experienced with the game was when I had to do boss fights that had multiple enemies. Like, the gargoyles were rough. Ornstein and Smog were like, holy shit, that was rough. There was another multi-boss fight, but that one I actually got on my first try, which was the Copper Demon, who had like dogs with him. That one I got it on my first try, so that one was fine. But yeah, highly recommend Dark Souls. Super freaking fun. I cannot wait for Dark Souls 2. I'm 100% gonna be playing that. But I'm gonna do a bit of a different build. I'm not gonna do strength again. I kind of want to try something different, so I'm planning on doing magic for that. But yeah, Dark Souls, great. Fun story. And this is something that I found out like a couple of months after I beat Dark Souls. Turns out that Dark Souls had a DLC, had a downloadable content. Now, mind you, I'm playing this game blind. Like, I'm blind. Like, I don't know anything about the game. Like, I do my best to go into a game knowing nothing about it and just figure it out myself. Dark Souls had a DLC. And apparently the way to access the DLC was you had to kill the Hydra. And then there's like a cave behind the Hydra. And then there's also like an item that you find like at some point like way like near the end of the game. And then you have to go back to that cave. And then it triggers like the DLC. I did not know that. So I missed the DLC. So yeah. So that's something I need to go back and do, because it kind of sucks. I know I can start a new game and I can keep playing with my character. And supposedly the enemies like get a little bit more difficult in New Game Plus, but I still keep all of my items. But like, I have to pretty much play through the majority of the game again to be able to get the one item that I need, which is located in like the... Oh, fuck, I forgot the name of the place. It's like the crystal tower place where the dragon is. So, yeah. Wow. I missed the DLC, so I cannot speak for the DLC. So, yeah. I messed that up. I literally had no idea. So that was a lesson learned. After that happened, I was like, okay, from now on, does this game have a DLC, and is there a weird way to access it? Because I didn't expect it would be so complicated. As far as I know that Dark Souls had NPC quests. Again, I'm playing the game blind. I don't know if there were certain things that you were supposed to do. Things didn't turn out too well for some people, like the boy with the sun on his thing, he ended up getting killed by me. So like, apparently, according to my brother, I could have actually saved him. I didn't, because I don't know what you were supposed to do, so I messed that up, so I'm sorry. My favorite area was, as much as I bitched about it, It was actually the wow, I'm blanking out. I completely forgot the name of the area, but it's the area where there's like everything is dark and there's like a bunch of like enemies, and then you go down and there's like a poison swamp at the bottom, and then there's like a boss on the right side, which is like a titties and a spider, basically. So yeah, but the poison area was not my favorite area. My favorite area was the going through up and down through that area. And obviously Anne Orlando. I mean, how could Anne Orlando not be your favorite area? That place was gorgeous. It was beautiful. But yeah. So that was pretty much it for Dark Souls. Missed the DLC. Played a strength build. By the end of the game, I was wearing Havel's armor. And I had like the club, but not the tiny club. Like the tiny club got upgraded to like a big, massive club. I was just kicking ass. It was awesome. It was great. It was a lot of fun. So again, if you never played Dark Souls because you think, oh, the game is supposed to be hard, I don't think I'll be able to beat it. Dude, if I can do it, you can do it. And you can do it better than I can. So, don't worry about it. So at this point, I've played a lot of games where you're pretty much playing by yourself. I am aware that Dark Souls had a multiplayer component to it. I never used that multiplayer component. I kind of wanted to fight the bosses by myself. I thought it would be more fun. But at this point, I was like, I kind of want to play a game where you interact with other players. But I didn't want it to play a game where you would be competing against those players. Like, what's it called? Like PvP. Like, I didn't want to do PvP because I knew what the point was going to be. I was going to get my ass kicked. So I want to have fun. I don't want to get my ass kicked. That just destroys the ego. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look up a game where I can play with other players. And I looked it up, and apparently a lot of the things that came up were like games, like a, what's it called? Like a genre of video games called MMOs. I was like, oh, okay, MMOs, let's look it up, what's a good MMO to try? And a lot of results came up. Unfortunately, a lot of these, I found out that MMOs are something that you really invest your time in. Like, it takes a long time for you to beat an MMO, and even then you don't really beat it because the game is always being updated. So I was like, oh man, I kind of don't want to get invested on an MMO because then again I'm trying to experience different types of video games and I don't want to be too invested on something. That way I can move on to something else. But I still wanted to try the MMO because it just felt something interesting. I was like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. Of all of the MMOs that came up, there were a couple of them that were free-to-play MMOs. Among them was Elder Scrolls Online. There was a Star Wars one. There was one called Guild Wars. I was like, okay, these are free, which means I can play them in my bed for a long time. I was like, sure, there's gotta be some kind of catch for why they're free. I kind of don't want to find out. So I did not play those free ones. And then the other two were Final Fantasy 14, I think it was what it was, and then World of Warcraft. I was like, okay, Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, you need to pay a subscription to play the game, but they also both offer a demo. Final Fantasy, however, the demo is very freaking long. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do Final Fantasy because it's actually a very long demo. And apparently, according to people, it's supposed to have a really great story. I was like, I don't want to get invested. I do not want to play the demo that is supposed to be very long and it encompasses a couple of expansions, which is what they called updates to the game. So I get more content, I guess, to the game. I was like, yeah, I'm not. No. Not getting invested. Not gonna do Final Fantasy. So my other option was World of Warcraft, which the demo, the trial, was all the way up to level 20, which supposedly you make it there like super fast. I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. Let's play the World of Warcraft, trial up to level 20. And then I played it and I freaking loved it. It was fun. Like, there were people on my chat talking about it that were teaching me things about the game. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of stuff about this. By the end of the trial of World of Warcraft, I was like, They were telling me, it's like, oh, you're playing the retail version. The retail version is great, but there's like another version of the game, but that you need to have a subscription for it. But it's completely different because it's like World of Warcraft as it was when it first launched. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious to know how much it evolved from when it first came out to how it currently was. That's kind of neat. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's do something. I'm going to subscribe to the game, and I'm going to play this original version of the game up to level 20. So my experience with World of Warcraft was only up to level 20, because that was was it level 20 or level 25? I think it was level 20. So played up to level 20, and that was it. So I subscribed to the game. I was like, I'm only gonna play up to level 20. I subscribed and immediately canceled, so that way I don't forget and they charge me again. So played up to level 20. I downloaded the classic version, which is what it was called, and I made the exact same character that I made in retail, which was a dwarf hunter. Recreated it on classic, and I had so much fun. Like, I played the retail version, it was great. I decided to go with the dwarf hunter. I almost chose an orc warrior, but then I like kind of dig the idea of playing a dwarf because I love the dwarf races, and the hunter because you will have like a pet with you. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. You get to have a bear, which was what was shown on the screen. You could have a bear. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. The warrior was like, oh my god, but you get to have like this epic axes on you. It's like, oh, that looks so cool. It's like freaking massive. Like, it looks badass. But I ended up going dwarf hunter, and that's what I played as on the retail version. It was fun. It was great. Story-wise, I was confused as hell as to what was happening. I mean, okay, I only played up to level 20, so maybe it gets better afterwards. Maybe the story becomes a bit, it gets explained a little bit better, but I was like lost. I was lost as hell. Like, you start the game on a boat, and they teach you how to play the game, and then the boat like gets all screwed up. You end up on this island. They teach you a little bit more how to play the game. My character was supposed to be some sort of like new recruit, and then somehow this new recruit is saving all of these people's asses. I was like, all of you people are useless. How the hell am I saving your asses? I'm a freaking recruit. You guys are supposed to have years of training, but whatever. We went through the whole island, and then we get saved, and then we get sent to like the human kingdom, and somehow we get a summon from the king, and the king is like, hey, we need you to go to like this place, and it's like, go with this maid chick, and then go to this place and somehow like help us secure an alliance. And I'm like, the fuck? I'm like a recruit. What are you talking about? What do you mean you're sending me to this place to secure an alliance with this? Like, what? I was like, okay, sure. And then we went to this place, and then stuff happens on this place. Like, the maid chick gets like talked down to by her mother. Well, not by her mother, but like freaking Ursula whispers voices to her mother, and then her mother like, I guess puts her in prison, and then I get put in prison, and then we escape the prison, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I'm just doing the stuff that pops up on the right side of the screen that tells me what to do. I am lost. I was lost on the story. The whole time I'm like, why am I responsible for like reuniting all of these houses from this place that we're trying to secure an alliance for? I'm like, I'm a freaking recruit. I'm a freaking nobody. Why am I the one doing all of this? I should not be doing this. I'm a new recruit. I don't know if there was a time skip at some point when we were on the island, but like, holy crap, I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know who any of you people are. There's a lot of exposition being thrown at me and nothing's getting explained. But again, only played up to level 20, so I didn't really... Maybe if I played a little bit more, I would like understand what's happening. But that was kind of weird. I was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing all of this? It's just weird. However, Classic actually made sense to me. Because in Classic, again, same thing. Dwarf, Hunter, same intro. not same intro, same character, except that this time you actually start, I guess, like as a new recruit, but you're literally a new recruit. Like you're in the dwarven area, like they're literally the dwarven city. You could go to the dwarven city, like you're in your zone. You're being told to kill this easy stuff, like, oh, go kill this wolf, oh, go kill this dude that's like bothering me. It's like, oh, it's like mini attacks, which makes sense. I'm a freaking recruit. I'm a nobody, so of course I get sent on these stupid little missions. And then we're playing through it. We're going through the area. I start getting recognition. I start getting known, up to the point where I get asked to go to the dwarven city and give a message to, like, I think it was one of the advisors of the Dwarven King. We don't speak to the Dwarven King directly. We just speak to the advisor, which was like, okay, look, we're moving up. It was like a progressive thing where it makes sense to me. At least it made sense to me. It was like, I'm a nobody. I've been doing all of this work. And now we're moving up. We're slowly moving up. But gameplay-wise, the game was... I actually mastered... I'm not gonna call it mastered. I got better at playing the game because of Classic. Because on the retail version, everything moved so fast. I can't explain. Like, it felt, compared to Classic, everything was moving fast. Like, my character was leveling super fast. It was like I leveled like in 2 days. I made it to level 20. Again, I only have like 2 hours to play. But by the time that I unlocked dungeons, I was like leveling like that. It was super, like, dungeons were fun as hell. But I was leveling way too fast. Like, I was getting a bunch of abilities on my bar. I was like, oh, what the fuck is all of this stuff? Whereas on Classic, it would take quite a bit to level up. It took me a whole month just to make it to 20. And I was like getting abilities. I had to like pay. Like, I needed to acquire gold, where I was getting like a bunch of money on the retail version. Like, I was like poor as hell on the Classic one. On top of that, on the retail version, regarding as a hunter, you could have any pet that you wanted. But, like, there really was no... there was kind of no reason for you to care about the pet. Like on the retail version, I was just getting pets left and right. I was like, oh, this pet looks cool, let me get that one. Oh, that pet looks cool, let me get that one. It's like, oh, that one's cool, let's get that one. Like, I was getting pets left and right. In the Classic version, I stuck to one pet all the way to level 20. It was like a wolf that I found that looked different from the other wolves, and he had like a silver dragon on. I was like, oh, this wolf, you're something special. You're gonna be my buddy. So I made him my buddy. And I ended up finding out that compared to the retail version, there's actually a loyalty system to this pet. So I was like, oh. So what does this mean? Like, if you increase your loyalty to me, you like, you do more damage? Which apparently was the case. I had to keep him happy. I was like, oh, I'm actually taking care of this freaking pet. I shouldn't be just willy-nilly just switching pets around. So just because of that fact alone, I was enjoying Classic so much better. At least the hunter experience. It was way more enjoyable to me. I had to take care of the pet. I had to like get the pet's loyalty. It was awesome. On top of that, the hunter in Classic needed to have ammo. Like, I had to have, like, I had like a quiver. No, it wasn't a quiver. The quiver was for the bow. Like, I had like a pouch, like a gun pouch, where I had to have ammo. It was awesome. Like, I love that idea. I was like, oh, it makes freaking sense. I'm a freaking hunter. I need to have arrows or bullets for my gun. If I run out, then it makes sense that I'm gonna start sucking. So I don't have anything to shoot with. So I'm gonna have to rely on my freaking shitty axe or whatever weapon I had at the time. Classic was great. It was super, super fun. The pet system, the ammo that I had to deal with. I was poor as hell. It was great. The dungeon. So here's what happened. I kind of wanted to do a dungeon because I enjoy doing dungeons a lot on the retail version. Classic was a little bit different because Classic did not have a button that you could press and it would just put you on a queue so you could do a dungeon. So you actually had to find people to do the dungeon with. Here's the problem. I ended up playing Classic when a different version of World of Warcraft launched. So a bunch of people were playing that version instead. So there were not a lot of people playing Classic. So I was having a bit of difficulty finding a group to do the dungeon with. And I kind of did not want to finish my up to level 20 experience without experiencing a dungeon, because it was my favorite part of doing retail. Thankfully, I ended up finding a guild, super kind people. They gave me like bags and they gave me like food, and I was like, oh, they were super nice about it. I returned all of the items because I knew I wasn't gonna go back to play World of Warcraft. So when I made it to 20, I returned everything to them. I was like, hey, thank you for everything. I'm not gonna be playing anymore. Here's all the stuff back. Thank you so much for all the help. But this group, this guild, I asked, it's like, hey, anybody want to do the Dead Mines? I think was the name of the dungeon. I've never done a dungeon before. I would love to experience a dungeon. It's my first time playing this game. Super nice people. They made a group. We went through it. It was, compared to the retail version where everybody was just going. We were killing things and not even thinking about it. The classic version, we were dying. We were dying a lot. We had to be very careful, and then when you die, you had to like run back all the way to the entrance of the dungeon. And it was a lot of fun. You had to take it slow. You had to be very careful. It's like, oh, go through here, try not to pull that one. It's like, oh, there's this one enemy that keeps showing up in the dead mine. So whenever someone would die and then they would run back, we actually had to backtrack to go and save that person, because it's possible that this one enemy will like show up again. So we have to like clear the area so that we could like keep going. It was awesome. It took over an hour to beat that dungeon, whereas in retail the dungeon would take like less than 10 minutes. That was an experience. I was like being very careful. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is a very tight area. We're in a cave. This is like, pet, I need you, Wolfie, I need you to like stay with me. Don't run off. So I was like, whenever we would finish finding an enemy, I would be like, come back here, Wolfie. And I was just like, don't run off, just stay right next to me. I refuse to be responsible for the death of my group. And I'm very proud to say that I never got anybody killed. Like, if we died, it was because of stuff that happened. So I'm very happy to say, because supposedly hunters and their pets can cause a lot of issues on dungeons, I'm proud to say, hey, I caused 0 issues on that dungeon. Like, I was very careful with my pet. I would keep my eye on it. Almost near the end of the dungeon, I was running out of ammo. But we did manage to beat the boss, made it to the end. It was awesome. It was a great ending. By this point, I was already level 20. I was like, okay, calling it. This is it. I returned all the stuff to the guild, and I left the game. Again, as I mentioned, there was another version of World of Warcraft that was released. It was the Cataclysm version, which was like another expansion that they have released. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? I have like 1 day left. Let's just do it. I downloaded Cataclysm. Same thing. I made a dwarf hunter. And I went in, I was like, immediately I could see, okay, the pet system is not there. It's not the same pet system. It's not the same way that the hunter. It felt a little bit more, we're getting to the retail, to the way that the retail was. I was like, no. You do still start in the dwarving area, so I was like very happy about that, but now everything is different. And it was neat. It was interesting. Because in the classic version, as you're playing through the starting area of the dwarven zone, you get told like certain things, like, oh, the trolls are an issue. There's like this other like enemy, forgot the name of it, but they're like near all the way to the all the way east of the starting zone of the dwarves, and they're coming out of like the mines. But then and they're talking like, oh, like that they're moving into dwarven lands. And then by the time the Cataclysm came around, they already moved in. The trolls were causing issues. Everything had like spiraled out of control. So it was like a little bit of an it's like, oh look, this area's story is progressing, which is like pretty freaking neat. But again, didn't do much, just played a bit just so I could see just how much different it was. It was very different. I was like, I kind of enjoyed Classic a little bit more. I ended up not making it to level 20, but I did stop once I acquired the same pet again, which I was very happy that he was still there, even though he wasn't in the exact same area where I found him in Classic. I was very happy when I found him. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience with World of Warcraft. Retail was fun, but I enjoyed Classic so much better because it was slow, the pet system was great. Yeah, that was 10 out of 10. Highly recommend Classic. It was a lot of fun. It was unfortunate that there weren't many people playing because of Cataclysm. But yeah, what can you do? So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I played this year. I am currently playing through Final Fantasy VII. Also, my brother has been really pushing for me to play Final Fantasy VII. He says, oh, you have to play before you get spoiled. There's like a big story moment that happens that is like one of the most famous moments in video games. It's like, okay, cool. You gotta play before you get spoiled. Don't look up anything Final Fantasy VII, just do it. So I've been playing through it. I'm currently in Cosmo Canyon. I'm about to enter a cave where we're going to learn about Red 13's dad, which my guess is Red 13 thinks that his dad was a coward. I think what happened was that when Red thinks that he ran away, I think what happened was that his dad just went back into whatever was going on to try and give time for Red and his mother to escape. So I think his dad died trying to protect him. I think that's where that's headed. I highly doubt that Red 13's dad was a coward. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. So far, the game was fun. I really enjoyed the time, the turn. It's not really turn. Like, you gotta wait for the bar to fill in and then you can attack. I liked it. It's very chill. I can just hang back and play. I'm playing with the controller again. It was a lot of fun. So far, Barrett is freaking awesome. He's a permanent party companion. Red is great. I love him. Tifa, I haven't used her much. Barrett and Aerith are my two permanent party companions. Aerith is my healer. Barrett is my range. Cloud is the nearby fighter. That's how I have it set up. Freaking awesome. They're great. The music is awesome. The areas are great. The gold sauce is gonna suck my life away. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I cannot say anything else about it because I haven't kept going. I'm on Cosmo Canyon. That's as far as I've made it. So with that, finally, we're reaching the end of the video. I do have a couple of games that I am planning on playing at some point this year. I do have a list. Next up, after Final Fantasy, I want to do Kingdom Hearts. I do want to do Dragon Age Inquisition so that I can play it and that way I can play the new one. But like, I have no rush to play the new one because holy crap, are video games expensive. I don't know what the price of the Veilguard is gonna be. I am not paying $70. So I have zero rush to play the Veilguard, but I will be playing Inquisition at some point. I want to continue with Call of Duty, so I'll be playing Call of Duty 2 at some point. I really want to do Black Mesa. I'm a huge fan of South Park, so my brother's library has 2 South Park games, so I really want to play those. I want to do Star Wars. I'm a massive fan of old Star Wars, not so much modern day Star Wars, except for like The Mandalorian and Rogue One. Those are the only good stuff that had come out of the whole Disney thing that happened. But yeah, I want to play. I was told that there's a game made by the same people that made Mass Effect and Dragon Age. They made a Star Wars game. So I was like, oh, I totally have to play that shit. I want to do Halo because I did saw the series. I was like, why do people hate this? I was like, kind of curious. So I do want to play Halo, and that's pretty much it. I do want to do at some point. I'm gonna see if I can sneak in World of Warcraft 1, 2, 3, because I guess apparently if I played those games, I would actually understand a lot of the stuff that is happening in World of Warcraft. Even though I'm not gonna play World of Warcraft as much, it was like, oh, there's actually normal games that I could play that kind of gets me a little bit of the story of the game. I'm like, okay, cool, I love that. Plus, apparently, it's a completely type of genre from everything that I played so far. So that's also a plan, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, that's it. That's the plan that I have for this year: Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Age, Call of Duty. Oh shoot, Dark Souls 2. I have to do Dark Souls 2 at some point. Black Mesa, South Park, the Star Wars game, and Halo, and sneaking World of Warcraft at some point. But yeah, that was it. You guys, video games are freaking awesome. Video games are great. They're a little bit expensive, but they're awesome. If it's your hobby, good for you. They're awesome. I honestly did not expect that I would become such a huge fan. There's nothing bad that I can say about them so far. I haven't experienced a bad game, so I'm not there yet. I haven't been burned like my brother has, because apparently my brother has a lot of issues, especially with the way that modern day games apparently treats monetization and whatnot. Like, I haven't experienced any of that, but I guess I will at some point. But yeah, nothing else that I can say. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the year. Bye bye.